Okay, so I want to talk about your sugar and spice video.
Yeah.
What materials do you use in the piece? I know you mentioned yesterday that you use sugar in it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously sugar and spice. And how are they significant to the performance?
Yeah, so Sugar and Spice was actually inspired by the nursery rhyme. Girls are made of sugar and spice and everything nice. I actually have a clip. Is it okay if I play it?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So, let's see. So here's the inspiration.
Is that?
Is this yours? Yours? Let me put volume.
Okay. Yeah.
I
We
mean,
can
you're
edit
gonna
this
cut
out.
this
It's
anyway.
fine. Yeah. That's why I'm like, if you want to sit down, you can sit down. It's fine.
No.
We can edit.
Yeah, no, we definitely gotta cut it out. Okay, so wait, let me put the volume just right too.
Okay, this will be an actual take then, so that we don't.
There's no such thing as takes.
Is that too loud?
No.
This is the Stork Market. And this is what I grew up listening to, so, or like watching.
What are little boys made of? What are little boys made of? Nails and snails and puppy dogs' tails. That's what little boys are made of. What are little girls made of? What are little girls made of? Sugar and spice and everything nice. That's what little girls are made of.
Oh wow.
I'll stop there. So, so this is what I grew up watching, right? These are like, this is 1946 cartoon.
Yeah.
Why? I was born in 84, but my parents were like,
Yeah.
oh, this is great, this is awesome. This is on, I guess they incorporate like Looney Tunes and Max Fleischer, I think his last name is. So I started like researching these cartoons that I remembered. And so I always thought the little girls were made out of sugar and spice and everything nice. Because this is what I'm learning as a child. So I'm going back and trying to learn, like relearn, like where did I get all of these different ideas of how you are supposed to be? So I'm going back into my history, and so the performance is really about exploring the sugar and spice and everything nice. Is that really what little girls are made out of? And so I am cooking the sugar and spice, and for me it was really important to cook it and then see how the sugar reacts. Like it turns into a solid and then liquid and then solid, and so it's really interesting because you also have to, you know, the process is you cook it and it's liquid and then it hardens again, but then it creates like these rocks, and then I would bang it, and so there was like this very like passive like cooking, and then there's this like banging which is very aggressive. So incorporating these ideas of actually masculinity and femininity within one body, and I think a lot of artists, Linda Benglis is somebody who works in those same type of ideas of everything is both soft and hard, and we all have that. And so for me it was really important to research that and do it into a live performance. And so I show all the different things. And I also looked at Egyptian culture because Egyptian culture is one of the cultures that was very fascinated with beauty and smelling nice and looking good. Men were the ones wearing makeup, and it was for protection from the sun. And so there's all these like ideas of where cosmetics come from, and gender roles that flip from one place to the next. And for me it was really important to just explore it all the way.
Can you send me a link to that?
Yes.
I think that would be important to show in the presentation.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like a precedent. How do the food elements of your work relate to the culture and religious symbolism that's present? Because I know there's some shots where you're standing very much like the Virgin Mary. So I guess what's...
Right. So I really, I think one of the reasons that I really wanted to capture that, I mean, in the live performance, I did stand and I stood there, and then I started looking at the footage from the live performance and saying, whoa, because I wasn't really guiding myself with the Virgin Mary. I was actually, one of the big of inspiration was the Venus of Ephesus, and she's these very like a sculpture, a pagan sculpture with all these breasts, and so the garment is kind of reminiscent, like construction wise, I was basing it off of the Venus of Ephesus, and so and then when I started looking at the hood that I created on the face and stuff like that, I said, this is Virgin Mary, this is Virgin Mary stuff, like this is exactly like the statue, and I know that I'm influenced by it because I go to church on Sundays, and I'm always looking at the artwork, and I'm always really interested in how the church would tell their stories through images. And so for me it was very important to show like her face that is just so passive, yet she has to go through all these things like of pain, but she doesn't show that at all. This is like her poker face. And so it's so interesting for me that she goes through all this suffering and having to let her child die and all these things, but yet she's
you never
she's
see
okay.
her, you never see her like wailing or anything.
No,
It's
she's
always
like
just...
this angel, this very happy, not even happy, just beautiful, right? She's this ideal. And so, I mean, the shoes are so significant because of that, because I'm just saying, like, so is she just like this passive being, or is she actually like a human being? Is she sexual? Is she a real person? And I think it's important to point out that whoever these people were, if they were real or if they weren't, that they were people. That's important to me, that they are people.
So you didn't start off with the idea of portraying the Virgin Mary, it just kind of happened?
Yeah.
Like it was just like a subconscious thing?
Yeah. I think I'm always researching Venuses from the past, and I think that's been really important for me. Even now in the future project that I'm working on, I'm researching constantly because for me there's a lack of story when it comes down to the Catholic Church. We only have the Virgin and the Whore, and there's no in between. And for me it's very important to research goddesses, because goddesses are portrayed as being sexual and being holy and bringing all these different things, whereas with Catholicism we only have those two, and I don't understand why women in a sense can't have both identities. Like, why do you have to be split, and then why are they split between good and bad? Is there a possibility that all of it is a good thing?
And that's where the shoes come in.
The shoes come in because of that. I started using those shoes with Venus, which was the striptease video, and I was very interested in combining, that whore and goddess dichotomy. Like, I really wanted the binary to just blend, for it to be a hybrid, so that I had something to look up to and say, you know what, all these images of women that are not there, I'm looking at the past because they are there. They just haven't been presented within this Bible book or within this religion, and I feel that they're missing, and so I'm trying to bring them back to tell different stories, so that not just women, but that we all look at the past and see how stories evolve to benefit one category or another.
And then the last question for that piece is about the timer and the consistent, ticking noise throughout the whole video. What significance does the timer have?
Yeah, the timer is a big part of it, because even when you look at the cartoon, you look at, when we had our Industrial Revolution, like we're making cartoons. This is the 1950s, right? So we're making cartoons of industry with human beings. And so the timer becomes that industry symbol. The fact that there is a perfect recipe to create this feminine ideal. And I think 1950s is like a perfect example of the feminine ideal, the nuclear family, these ideals of having, you know, the perfect family, which was just created, but not really, I'm not saying it didn't exist, that people didn't live like that. I'm sure there were some families that lived happily and really excited and everything like that, like we see in the 1950s, like sitcoms, but I don't completely believe that. I do think that there's a lot of different things that were happening. So the timer becomes that, like, the time that we give something in order to get the right result, which is just like cooking. So altered, human beings is being altered.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do.
Do you want to do the next one? Go ahead. And then I'll do the last.